Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cranky Pundit podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morgan, the Cranky Pundit. And on today's episode, guys, I've made a list of the top 5 cult heroes at your club. Now, how I define cult hero, it's not necessarily the player with the most talent, the guy that scores all the goals. What we're looking at here is, who are the fans' favourite? Who's the guy at the club that maybe other clubs look at this guy and don't think he's a great player, but at your club, you love him. You won't have a bad word said about him, and when you look back at him, he's just a great guy. Maybe not the most talented, but just awesome for your club. And if you had 11 of those people, you'd absolutely love him. Now, before I start, this is just my opinion. I'm a comedian, guys. I've made many comedy sketches, all that kind of stuff. I do stand up. I'm going to a gig in Galway later. That's my job, And I completely forgot the hate on TikTok when you create stuff. All the other apps are just lovely. Like, you'll go onto Facebook, they'll be like, hey man, that's great stuff, good content. Same on Instagram. Even if they disagree with you, they'll be like, man, I disagree with you, but I respect your list. You go onto TikTok, my mother's a clown, my sister's a clown, I'm uglier than Di Maria, I don't have a fucking clue what I'm talking about. Don't ever make a list again. There's a smell of shit off me from the other side of the lane. Like, all this kind of stuff is, and not like, you know what I mean? I'm fine. I'm totally taking it. I'm totally fine. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm stressed out about it and got a haircut today over how old I'm feeling and what TikTok kids are calling me. It's nothing to do with that, man. I'm balanced. I'm mentally balanced. You know when someone just looks at you and says that I'm mentally balanced, that they're not mentally balanced at all. Like, surely that's for others to decide as well. I believe if you're trying to... forget about it. All right, okay. As you can see, I've gone insane from all the kids rinsing me on TikTok this week. So what I am going to say, guys, is it is my opinion. Go make a fucking list yourself. Do you know what I mean? You're more than welcome to go make a list. And then I'll go onto your page and slag your mother. Look, guys... doesn't bother me. Like I said 30 seconds ago, I'm mentally fantastic. But, yeah, guys, so top 5, right? Straight away, what's going to happen with my Liverpool list here. People are going to go, where's Jamie Carragher? I have to make an episode. I'm just going to make an episode by itself on how overrated Jamie Carragher was. I have to. I disagree with Psychic Dan all the time about this. Liverpool fans I disagree with. I think, to Liverpool fans in general, he's the reason. He's the one constant throughout the late 90s, early 90s. Like, when he left, we went on a title charge. Do you know? Like he's the one constant in our bad years. I don't think Jamie Carragher is he might be a fan favourite. He might be, I don't know, what is this list? Top 5 cult heroes, but in my opinion, he's not, so he's not getting into it. So I can already dismiss that before you even get into the comment section. Where's Carragher? He's not in it. He's not in it. Like, for me, he's not in it. Like, I have to make an episode about that. It's such dividing opinions between Liverpool fans. So I don't know where to start. There's lists here in front of me, so I made it on 10 clubs, guys. So I did 10 different clubs. I'll actually count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clubs. I've made a top 5 list, and if you disagree, that I'm more than happy to debate it with you. In fact, when I made my last lists, fellas were commenting and girls were commenting better lists than I made. I was actually looking at their lists going, that's a way better list than I made. It took me 2 days of research, and they've had 5 better players that are on my list. So 100%, I'm there to be got at, guys, and I don't mind you slagging my mother either. She's a saint. So obviously, guys, if you're in Galway, this might be too late for when the podcast is going out, but if you're in Galway, come to my show tonight on the Roisin Dove, and we'll have Psychic Dan also later in the week. See if you can get 5 out of 5 in the quiz and all that, and keep sending in your messages. I must have an episode also of just reading out your messages. I keep asking you to send in messages, and then I do a podcast and I never read out your messages. Like, I'm a gourmet, so I have to do a whole episode on just getting back to you like that. So anyway, let's crack on with the podcast. The 5 cult heroes at your club in the last 10 years, okay? That's the next thing as well. It's in the last 10 years. It's currently 2023. So 2013 to 2023 is the list, okay? So in the last 10 years. So we'll start off with Manchester United. That's where we'll go. We'll go with Manchester United. So The top 5 cult heroes at Manchester United in the last 10 years are: number 5, Phil Jones. Phil Jones is on all my lists, but the reason why he's a cult hero for Man United is because every other fan from other clubs thinks he's useless, and then Man United fans won't have a bad word said about him. They applaud him and still sing his name, so cult hero. Number 4, Antonio Valencia. Yes, the brick shithouse right back was loved by the Old Trafford faithful. Luke Shaw's number 3. The reason I picked Luke Shaw is because Man United have been up and down with this man. He had a horrific injury and it took a while for him to get back to form, and they always backed him at left back. They really did always back Luke Shaw. Number 2 is Lisandra Martinez. I absolutely love this guy. I wrote him off after the Brentford game, but this is the guy you want on your team. And number 1 is Casemiro. I have not seen Man United fans excited about a player in the last 10 years as I do with Casemiro. He's a world-class player and a great signing. So that's my top 5 for Man United cult heroes. Let me know if you think anybody else. So number 5, Phil Jones. Number 4, Antonio Valencia. Number 3, Luke Shaw. Number 4, Martinez. Number 1, Casemiro. So they are my cult heroes for Man United in the past 10 years. Now, there could be loads more I'm forgetting about, maybe in 2013-14. I just see the last year being one of the best in the last 10 years for Manchester United. Hence there being 3 current players in that list. But I always thought that Valencia, they always had a soft spot for, and Phil Jones, even though I personally think he's shit. But like, when you say he's shit, Man United fans are on you, like, you know. So that defines a cult hero. That literally defines a cult hero. If everybody else thinks he's terrible, but everybody at the club love him, that is a cult hero. That's what we're doing this list for, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll move on to Arsenal. So the top 5 cult heroes at Arsenal in the past 10 years are: number 5, Lukas Podolski, scored 19 goals in 60 games, even though it was the latter part of his career. Number 4, Granit Xhaka, a bigger character arc than Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones. This man was booed off the pitch 2 years ago, and now he's like their favourite player. Number 3, Saka. As the years go on, I see this guy making it on number 1 on my list. Number 2, Aaron Ramsey. Never mind Arsenal Fan TV, the majority of Arsenal fans love this guy, and I can see why. There was 2 or 3 years where he was one of the best centre midfielders in the Premier League. And number 1 is Santi Cazorla. I'm a Liverpool fan. I love Santi Cazorla. Left foot, right foot. He's only 4 foot. It don't matter, baby. Santi Cazorla, unbelievable. And if you actually haven't seen it, right, you should go to when he got signed by Villarreal after Arsenal, he had like an unveiling. That's what they do now when they sign players. They have like an unveiling. And they got a magician, right? And you just look this up on YouTube, right? They got a magician. Santi Cazorla was not in the box. Then a load of smoke comes around, and then Santi Cazorla appears inside this glass tube. It's actually mind-boggling. Whoever the magician is, it's unbelievable. I think how they did it, they dug a hole in the ground and maybe he climbed. I don't know. I'm not a magician. I'm not a fucking magician. So the top 5 for Arsenal was Lukas Podolski, Granit Xhaka, Saka, Aaron Ramsey and Santi Cazorla. We'll move on to my beloved Liverpool now. Again, Carragher's not in this. I don't want to hear about it. This is in my opinion as well, guys. My opinion. You might have a completely different list, but like, we'll see. The top 5 cult heroes for Liverpool in the past 10 years are: number 5, Mamadou Sakho. Liverpool fans actually like this guy. He obviously left Liverpool because Jurgen Klopp didn't get on with him, but the fans really did like him. Number 4, Kostas Tsimikas. Hasn't done an awful lot in the Liverpool jersey, but already has a song, cup-winning penalty. He's a good guy. Number 3, Adam Lallana. During the bad times, this guy was like one of our favourites, and when Klopp came, he started our press. Klopp really liked him, so love Adam Lallana. Number 2, Suso. I often wonder how Liverpool and Suso's career would have gone had he stayed at Liverpool. Only played a handful of times, but impressed everybody in the Kop when he did. Really weird that he didn't stay at the club. And number 1 is Divock Origi. I say no more. I got a baby on the way. I'm honestly thinking of calling it Divock. Girl or boy, I might call it Divock. Love Divock Origi. And people often go on about the selling of Mane and like Wijnaldum. No one goes on about Origi. Like, Liverpool have been downhill, and I know it's mostly Mane and players getting older. But what Origi got us 9 points a season, and no one talks about it. Even last year, he got a last-minute winner against Wolves when the game was 0-0 in the 96th minute. No one talks about that kind of stuff. So Liverpool's list is Saka, Tsimikas, Lallana, Suso, and Origi, in my opinion. We'll move on to Tottenham Hotspur. So the top 5 cult heroes for Spurs in the past 10 years are: number 5, Ryan Mason. This guy was loved by Tottenham, had a horrible career-ending injury at Hull City, but went back to be manager at Spurs, and they still love him to this day. Number 4, Lukas Moura. Still plays with Spurs, and he is remembered for their best night in European history. That hat-trick he got against Ajax still lives in my mind. Number 3, Jan Vertonghen. An absolute stalwart and centre-back for 10 years for Tottenham Hotspur. Love the guy. Number 2, a current player, Dejan Kulusevski. Yeah, with Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, all these big names. The fans love Kulusevski. And number 1 is centre-mid Dembélé. This guy used to boss it. Some touches, maybe a bit lazy, but Spurs fans absolutely love this guy. So my top 5 for Spurs are Ryan Mason, Lukas Moura, Jan Vertonghen, Kulusevski and Dembélé. So we'll move on to Chelsea. So the top 5 cult heroes at Chelsea in the past 10 years are: number 5, Branislav Ivanović. In a time when Chelsea were signing superstars, this guy was loved by Stamford Bridge for his no-nonsense versatility. Number 4, Willian. I love Willian. Everyone loves Willian. He's still playing for Fulham right now, and he might even get Team of the Year. He's playing brilliant. Number 3, Ramirez. Remember that goal he scored in the Nou Camp? Oh, what a player. Got a big money move to China afterwards. Number 2, Demba Ba. Steve Gerrard, he slept on his monkey. He gave it to Demba Ba, and look, he's on the list. And number 1, Didier Drogba. Not only for the first time at Chelsea, but remember he came back. The fans loved him. He was a shadow of his former self, but that didn't matter to the Chelsea fans. They loved him. Didier Drogba, number 1. So my top 5 for Chelsea: number 5, Ivanović. Number 4, Willian. Number 3, Ramirez. Number 2, Demba Ba. And number 1, Drogba. So we'll move on to where we go? We'll go on to Man City, guys. So again, very hard to make a City list for most fan favourites. They don't have fans, so and they're all sick players as well, which is a joke. All right, okay. So the top 5 cult heroes for Manchester City in the past 10 years are: number 5, Yaya Touré, one of the best centre midfielders in the world in the 13-14 season. Number 4, David Silva. The man is unbelievable. I know I'm a Liverpool fan, but I can really appreciate the genius that is David Silva. Number 3, Kompany. Vincent Kompany was signed, they say, before the money, but I don't know about that, and he'll always be remembered for that title-winning goal against Leicester. Number 2, Kevin De Bruyne. I don't need to explain myself. He's been amazing for the time he's been at Manchester City. And number 1, Agüero. Again, guys, these are top-class players. They all play for Man City. Really hard to make a list for fan favourites at Man City when they have no fans. So my top 5 for Man City: Yaya Touré, David Silva, Vincent Kompany, Kevin De Bruyne and Sergio Agüero. The top 5 cult heroes at Everton in the past 10 years are: number 5, Steven Pienaar. This guy was outstanding for Everton in his first stay, earned a move to Tottenham, but came back to Everton, a South African legend. Number 4, Jordan Pickford. Everybody else doesn't really rate him, but Everton fans absolutely love him. Number 3, Leighton Baines. The Scouser was an outstanding left back for Everton. Number 2, Richarlison. Everton fans absolutely love Richarlison, and you can say single-handedly kept you up last year. And number 1 is Irishman Séamus Coleman. Fitting that he's number 1 on the list after the goal he scored last week. So the 5 for Everton are Steven Pienaar, Jordan Pickford, Leighton Baines, Richarlison and Séamus Coleman. So we'll move on to West Ham. The top 5 cult heroes at West Ham in the past 10 years are: number 5, Joe Cole. Controversial choice, this one. It's weird how the Hammers love Joe Cole but hate Frank Lampard. He came back for a second stint at the club in the 13-14 season. Number 4, Dimitri Payet. Now I know things ended bad with this guy, but for the last year at Upton Park, they love Dimitri Payet. Number 3, Jarrod Bowen. He's also going out with Danny Dyer's daughter, who's also called Danny Dyer. Number 2 is Dawson. He earned a move to another Premier League club, Wolves, this year, but he was outstanding last year for West Ham. And number 1 is Mark Noble. Again, not a flashy player. I don't think every other club would have him, but West Ham fans absolutely loved Mark Noble. So my top 5 for West Ham again: Joe Cole, Dimitri Payet, Jarrod Bowen, Dawson and Noble. They're my top 5 for West Ham. So we'll move on to Crystal Palace. I made a list for Crystal Palace and I had some fun with it, alright? Okay. So the top 5 cult heroes at Crystal Palace in the past 10 years are: number 5, Yannick Bolasie. That man tore Liverpool to shreds every time they met him. What a player. Things didn't go well for him afterwards though. Joel Ward is number 4. He's been at Crystal Palace for 12 years and has been a stalwart at right back. Number 3, Dwight Gayle. As a Liverpool fan, I have nightmares. I was at the home match and they absolutely loved him. Scored a goal in a 3-1 defeat. Number 2, Glenn Murray. Probably a fan favourite everywhere he goes. The unorthodox centre forward was loved by Crystal Palace fans when they got promoted in the 13-14 season. And number 1 is Wilfred Zaha. Why wouldn't you love him? You sold him for an outrageous fee, brought him back on the cheap, and he's been your best player for the last decade. So Wilfred Zaha is number 1 for Crystal Palace. And we'll go to the last team that I've actually made, and it's Aston Villa. So the top 5 cult heroes at Aston Villa in the last 10 years are: number 5, John McGinn. He was with him in the Championship. He's come up. Now I know he's not having the greatest season this year, but Aston Villa fans really respect this guy. Number 4, Ron Vlaar. Can you imagine getting head-butted by this fella? I seen this guy head balls out of the box into the other box. Like, scary guy. Number 3, Benteke. I was at a Liverpool game at Anfield and Aston Villa beat us 3-1. This man scored 2 goals and Aston Villa fans for 90 minutes were just like, a Benteke, a Benteke, a Benteke, a Benteke. They loved him. Number 2, Ashley Young. Again, went away to United, came back in the later parts of his career. Very versatile nowadays, but the Aston Villa fans do respect Ashley Young. And number 1, of course, Jack Grealish. The boy of their own. He sold them for 100 million so they could rebuild their team. Brilliant player for Aston Villa and well respected by the Villa faithful. So that's my list of Villa guys: John McGinn, Ron Vlaar, Benteke, Ashley Young and Grealish. Let me know if I've missed anybody out, guys. I obviously have. When I make these lists, these are all my own opinion. If you could please go follow my YouTube, guys. Like and subscribe. I think we've up to nearly 100 subscribers already. And YouTube pay you at 1,000. So get up to 1,000. I got a baby on the way. Let's get up to 1,000, baby. Tell your friend. Grab your mother's phone. Log into her YouTube, right? And subscribe to my thing. Do the same. Grab your father's phone. If you don't have an account, create an account and subscribe. You can actually send money as well. So if your dad's loaded, just send money, deal with it after. I got a baby on the way. Like and subscribe, guys. Give me a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to it on. I really hope you're enjoying the podcasts. And if you're not, don't give a review. So, guys, really enjoying it. Go on to the Mike Morgan channel if you want to catch me at one of my gigs, guys. And really appreciate everything that's happening with the podcast at the moment. Really enjoying it. So, peace and love, guys. Peace and love.